While fragmentation is one of the major issues facing the aviation industry in Africa, one that stands out in South Africa is transformation. This week on Eye on KZN, the Department of Transport takes us to Dube Trade Port as well as Margate Airport to educate the province's youth on the opportunities available within the aviation industry. This is Eye on KZN. I'm Aviation Youth and I'm at Durban for the first ever International Civil Aviation Summit. Here the Department of Transport has invited industry heads in aviation to come and educate the youth of Kwa-Zulu on aviation itself. Now let's go inside and take a look at what they have in store for us. The Dube Trade Port, a kilometre and a half away from King Shaka Airport, played host to this, the first civil aviation summit in South Africa. KwaZulu-Natal's Department of Transport ensured that youth from around the province attended in numbers to learn about the aviation industry. Experts in the industry were here to share their knowledge. One of them is Pindi Wekwebu from the South African Civil Aviation Association, who paints a picture of how transformation is shaping up in aviation.
Actually, I've got bad news for you because it doesn't really look that good. In terms of our statistics, in the plus 30,000 aviation personnel that we have in our database, about 90% of these personnel, especially pilots and engineers, are still white, and 10% we share between Africans, coloreds and Indians. And so those statistics doesn't really look good and that's just from a professional perspective. But when you look at the business side of it, airport owners, aircraft owners, airline owners, and so on, in terms of our own database in South Africa, we probably have got about 200 AOC holders. Out of that number, only 10 are actually African, Indian and black owners in terms of aviation businesses. And out of even that number, probably only 2 companies are owned by women. And that's really not good statistics to be talking about.
These various statistics are the reason that KZN's Department of Transport partnered up with various stakeholders to educate the youth here on the numerous opportunities available in aviation. A story that inspired many here was that of Zandile Ndlela, a commercial pilot born and bred in the province. She had to fight through it all to achieve a goal of being a pilot. Ndlela shares her story with the youth here.
In front of you is a young lady by the name of Zandile Ndlela, born and bred just south of Durban in Mlazi. I was a young lady with big dreams. It's safe to say bigger than the average young girl from Mlazi. And it's funny when I think back now, when I used to grow up saying, actually, where we live, Gakoko, Gayu, Mlazi. It was not far from the old Durban International Airport. I used to look at the aircrafts flying by. Sundays, I love church, but every time like, hey, Boga, go to church. You're like, oh my goodness, I have to do this again. But like afterwards, you get to go to the airport. Hey, I was the first one in the bathroom because I can't wait to see those aircrafts. And when you grow up telling people, I want to go fly those planes, like, yeah, I know, it's very good, you should be a flight attendant. I'm like, no. I don't want to be a glorified waitress. Coffee is coffee, whether it's up there or down here, coffee is coffee. I don't want to serve that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a wonderful career, but just not for me. Yeah. I want to be the person that moves that thing from point A to point B. Wow. And the funny thing that I always heard was, I'll never forget this moment. Our neighbor, a young gentleman, was wearing a t-shirt from SAA. He said, look at this t-shirt. I looked at it. He said, that's as far as you go, wearing t-shirts from SAA. As a Nigerian woman said, I said, it's a lie. Back to sender. It's a lie, not me. The journey wasn't easy. Back to reality. It wasn't easy, it was difficult. To be honest, it took me 10 years to wear the bars I have on my shoulders. Not because it's that difficult, it's not. It's not rocket science. Purely because of financial constraints. It was very difficult. I started my flying career in 2006, on and off. Sometimes it meant I had to leave aviation, get jobs in other industries, be working by night so I can fly by day to finance it. I would knock on Department of Transport sometimes. I'm sure many a time got irritated. It's like, this girl, you again. Sometimes you knock on the door, they open, it's like, you again. It's like, yes, me again. Especially Tita in Johannesburg. When I couldn't break barriers here, I said, I'm prepared. I hopped on a bus with no plan because I've been calling, asking for help. Nobody was prepared to help. I said, you know what? This is my future. I refuse to take no. No is not an option. Failure is not an option.
Ndlela says the bars on her shoulders cost over R1 million. She says it wouldn't have been possible without assistance from the Department of Transport and the Transport Education Training Authority. The youth here learned that a pilot is just one of the many careers available in aviation, some more popular than others. Professionals in the industry spoke about what they do.
Basically, as you know, we're working in the aviation industry. So what we do, we maintain the equipment that the ATCs uses to communicate with the pilots, the equipment that the pilots or the aircraft uses to navigate from one point to another. So that's what I basically do. I maintain, I fix, I make sure every equipment is working 100%. So that's what I do every day.
Okay, what does it take to do what you do every day? What do I have to study? Do I have to get funding? Tell me, give me the process.
Okay, with me, I started doing national diploma in engineering, the light current at DUT. So I did my first year and the second year, which we do like in semesters, S1 to S4. And then the third year, it's where you do your experiential learning, which is normally called in-service training. So after doing my 2 years at DUT, which is theory, and then I applied at ATNS to do my in-service training, which was my third year. So that's what I did, and then that's why I'm here today.
Currently, my position is Assistant Manager, Emergency Management Systems here at King Shaka International Airport. So what I basically do is ensure that the airport is prepared for aviation disasters. I fall within the Fire and Rescue Department, so we are aviation firefighters. We just basically ensure the safety and security of everybody that flies through our airports.
Wow. And what does one have to study in order to do that? How do you go into it?
You need to have a passion for it. And from school level, you do pure maths and science, because obviously even through firefighting, you need to be able to tell whether your water is going to deplete before the fire. So that's where the science comes in. So you do maths and science, and then from there you get your driver's license after matric, and then you go through to one of the fire schools. That you get Rural Metro here in Durban, as well as Ilovo. There you will do Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2. You get your hazmat awareness and hazmat operations. Then you are now a qualified firefighter. Then we can take you into the airport and we teach you aviation firefighting, which is slightly a speciality out of the municipal firefighting. That's what it is.
I understand, though, there's also a physical aspect to the training and a requirement to go into it. I understand you have to jog a certain distance or something like that. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it's a very physical career. So if you don't like the gym, or if you don't like getting physical, getting your hands dirty, don't do it. Because preliminary, before you get in, you do physical assessments. So now there's a time limit. You run 2.4 kilometers in 12 minutes flat. That is your entry requirement. And if you don't make it through that stage, we can't take you further. Then you need to do a certain number of sit-ups, like 13 a minute, push-ups, 13 a minute. You carry a certain amount of water around. And then we test whether you can handle the physicalities of a fire hose. If you can't do that, then unfortunately you need to go back home and train a little bit more. And then the more fitter you get, the better your chances.
Local motivational speaker and social entrepreneur also gave guidance to the youth of KwaZulu-Natal.
It was so empowering to know that there is so much training available. The next thing is, with that training, how do we match now the training to the opportunities that are available in the industry? How do I come out of there having been trained and make sure that I don't go sit at home with my training? How do I get actually employed?
After a morning of advice from experts, the youth here were then split into groups for a detailed experience into aviation. While many were learning about aviation for the first time, Nontando Mtiane from Tuzuma here in KwaZulu-Natal has experienced the struggles involved in the industry.
I'm an aviation graduate and I'm a qualified cabin crew attendant, but I have been unemployed for 2 years. I was employed at King Shaka International from 2014 for 6 months. It was contract, and I've been struggling to get a job ever since. So the reason why I came here was to get awareness on how to get into other aspects of the aviation.
The Department of Transport offered Mtiane assistance in finding a job. For the majority here, these sessions were an eye-opener.
I didn't really know about aviation until today, so I do like have an interest, but I'm still going to learn more, and in the future maybe I'll be a pilot.
We are here to learn about aviation. There's a lot that we're learning here. We are still going to continue because we are coming up with the resolutions and we are piecing it together.
I didn't know much about aviation, but I've learned about the careers that are under that industry. So I'm quite interested, but I'm willing to learn more about it before I make a decision about it.
We're here for aviation. I didn't even know what that was before, but now it's becoming clear.
Well, it has been a lengthy and quite interesting program, this joint aviation awareness program. To say to us as youth, there are so many programs that we can engage ourselves within the aviation sector.
Today I learned that aviation is quite a diverse industry, and that poverty is almost a common factor to all the social ills that we have in our society.
It seems these sessions were beneficial for both the youth and their facilitators, as they both were learning from one another.
Definitely today I've learned a lot from the future, who are the youths. They've really showed me, or rather they've really enlightened me on issues affecting their livelihoods and how the aviation industry can help address their issues and their livelihoods. So it's a work in progress, and I hope that in the near future we are going to have fruitful results. Thank you.
And how are you finding the youth here today? Are they grasping all the aspects that you bring across here?
They're thirsty. They need knowledge. You know, they understand, and they're really taking their time to understand everything. They're asking questions, and they're very participative. They've got a bright future indeed. I think South Africa is headed into the cosmos in terms of aviation. We are going to see our next rocket scientist probably coming from this group right here that we have. So I think the future is bright.
Stay tuned for more after the break. In South Africa, 90% of professionals in the aviation industry are white. A further 90% of businesses in the aviation industry are white-owned. This is one of the reasons that the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport hosted the country's first ever Aviation Youth Summit as a build-up to the International Civil Aviation Day. The aim here was to open a dialogue between government, the youth, and high school learners regarding meaningful participation of young South Africans. The one thing that became clear here was that maths and science is a necessity in the aviation space.
The basics are that your maths and science is where you guys are at the moment. Maths and science is the most important thing for you. And if you excel in your maths and science, the world is your oyster.
So continue passing your maths, continue passing your science, continue passing your English, and learn the geography as well.
Depending on when you join the Air Force, you don't need any form of training, anything like that, as long as you've got your good maths and science.
Most important also maths and science. And what's important to remember for maths and science, never give up, never give in.
As important as it may be, maths and science may be bypassed if one really wants to work in the aviation industry. Zandile Ndlela, a commercial pilot born and bred here in Umlazi in KwaZulu-Natal, gives these pupils a lesson in determination.
I can't speak too much about the physics and science that's been said, but I also want to speak to the student who has not done maths and science. I don't know if they are here. All is not lost. When I say that with passion, and if you really want something, you'll do whatever it takes to get it. So don't give up. All is not lost. Yes, with the CAA you do need maths and science to apply. But TITA may consider funding you to do your flying training even though you don't have it. If you want it badly enough and you can show them that, it's still possible for you. All is not lost.
University students also form part of the speakers here. Aeronautical engineering student Nomathemba Khumalo, who studies the development of aircrafts, details how she went about enrolling in her course.
Basically what we do is we design aircrafts and all the other air vehicles. Sponsored by CAA, which is the South African Civil Aviation Authority. Ngazenge South African Civil Aviation Authority, it was a program like this where I got information and then I went to their stand. I asked what they do. They offered me the application forms. I applied and I got the bursary. To get the bursary, or to be an aeronautical engineer, you need maths and physics, 60% maths and 60% physics.
When the formalities were done, it was time for these pupils to experience aviation for themselves. I'm at the Margate Airport, where over 700 high school learners from around KwaZulu-Natal have come here today to view various exhibitions around aviation. This is, of course, an initiative by government to teach these high school learners about various careers that are available in the aviation industry. Let's go inside and see what they have in store for us. Many sectors from the aviation industry displayed their crafts here, including the South African Air Force.
Our role in this exhibition is to exhibit the capabilities of the South African Air Force in terms of the technical part, the people that play the behind-the-scene roles in terms of fixing of the aircraft, servicing of the aircrafts. In the stall here, we have a flight simulator that we built ourselves for the kids to come in and to use and just get the feel of how it feels like to fly. We also have different career options in which they can choose from and see what do we do within the South African Air Force. And also we have the recruitment part where they can tell them all the other options except for the technical options within the South African Air Force.
It's a flight simulator. It's an Impala Mark 1. We designed this in 2 months. The main purpose of this is to train students, especially students from rural areas, so that they get used to flying and then knowing what's happening inside the cockpit. So we actually built this for students.
South African Airways gave the learners here a feel of what it's like to be on a flight.
Yeah, well, basically what we did in the tent is that we just told them what we do, and here what we're doing is that I'm showing them how an aircraft looks. Most of these kids, I had a group before, and I asked them, has anybody been on an aircraft? Nobody has been on an aircraft. So basically what this is, it's just a mock-up of how an aircraft looks like. So I tell them about the seats, I tell them that, okay, there's sections like the economy class and business class. I tell them about the safety of I tell them about the safety that we take care of on the aircraft. I show them the cupboards, I show them the TVs that we have. I basically just show them how an aircraft looks like inside. And if they've got any questions, then they ask me.
Remember, what would you like to do as a pilot? You must think, because when you get to your older grades, you need to start deciding what you want to do, what you want to progress in as a career. So it's important for you to start thinking now that, okay, I want to be a pilot. What do I need to do? What are the questions that I need to ask? And whether you want to be a cabin crew member, you need to find out the information. And this is what we are here for. So you can ask us those questions and find out about the career and what we do when we do fly, or when you're a cabin crew member. What we're doing at the moment is giving the basic education that they need to know. Just the basic fundamentals of how to get into a career and what the career entails as well. It's important for these kids to know that, because from their background, it appears to us that they are not educated enough about different careers within aviation. Yes, you get your information about doctors and air traffic controllers, the basic stuff, but it's important for them to know that there are other careers out there in aviation, and that's what I'm basically doing here. So right now I'm just giving a brief rundown of what an autopilot does and what the control yoke does, what the thrust levers does. So this is the mere basics for them to spark a little bit of interest in the aviation career, or whether my side is actually being a pilot.
When it came to the engine of the aircraft, it was clear that science was a necessity.
Could you please repeat it for me? What happens when the engines burn?
Okay. Remember, we're talking about air intake phase. That's where air gets sucked into the engine. Now it goes through the first phase of compression, second phase of compression. Compression, we're talking about when we look into the fins actually compresses air on the first stage. Second phase of compression again. What happens when something gets compressed? It's getting more heat, isn't it? Getting hot. Now when it gets hot, it goes into this air will never go back in that side. It goes this way. Now going that way, it gets to be in a combustion chamber. Combustion chamber, that's where it mixes with the fuel.
The Air Traffic Navigation Services gave those that made their way to their stands all the information they needed to join ATNS.
You can apply for learnerships that we are offering inside the company, and there are also other positions within the company that need only a matric. Positions like your administration, like in the finance department, the receptionist and all that. Okay.
So this kind of job doesn't need science.
Which one?
This job, it doesn't need science.
It's only maths, pure maths and English. Yes. Okay. Is that all you wanted to ask me? Eh?
How long does it take?
It's between 2 to 4 years. The first 6 months is your theory. 18 months is practicals. After 2 years, you permanently get employed by ATNS. That one is a guarantee. Then as you are inside the company, you progress by studying as well, so that you can reach your 4 years.
You are getting paid, you are working, and you are learning.
We are born
So,
again.
Which
Is
kind
that
of universities do we go to?
No, we've got our own academy in Johannesburg.
Your own academy?
Yes. We are here to bring awareness to our students coming from KZN. We train students that would like to become air traffic controllers. We give them bursaries, and we have explained inside our makis there that the requirements are maths and science, and they need to attain a minimum of level 4.
Dignitaries, including KwaZulu-Natal's MEC for Transport and the Margate Mayor, braved the weather to join the civil aviation celebrations.
Yes, it is evidence that even when it comes to business opportunities in the very same sector, that has not been improved. But our national transport sector charter also reflects that this is what the government, these are the targets that the government should be looking at in terms of improving the number of people who now get into this mainstream economy to participate. And we are hopeful that with all the efforts that we are still putting as government in terms of popularizing the industry, ensuring that South Africans, they encourage young people to partake in this industry. And all these programs, exhibitions that have been held, they encourage young people to take interest, which will then be able to boost our numbers. And we know that people are running away from maths and science, so we really encourage young people to stick to those subjects as well as your geography and your English, so that you improve in those subjects. Once they do well, they'll then have access. But these are the opportunities that need to be seized by young people, because it's for the first time that you have the government in South Africa which exposed young people to these opportunities. They've been reserved for the few. Now all people have access. And there are bursaries as well.
I must tell you, it was the surprise. As we were going around in some of the stalls, one of the child from Unombuso Secondary School came to us and said she wants to do engineering, and we took her to the gentleman who was inviting one student to go to Montreal, but this one wants to learn about engineering. So already those children who feel it's important for them to further their institutions, some didn't know anything about aviation. They just see a plane going there in the sky, not knowing what is happening. But today it was explained to them what happens within the aviation and also within the SNDF. So children are really very pleased, and we are also pleased as parents. I want to say to the community out there, to the parents out there, let your children go out and adventure new jobs. Because if a child finishes his or her matric and stays at home and say there is no employment, how can you get an employment when you are seated at home? You go out and look and ask, Google, look at your internet, what is happening. Because I'm told they want pilots, but especially black pilots, females and males. So why are they not doing it? If I was young, I was going to really ask for something and do something, but my age doesn't call me to do so. So I really eager them to do so.
Sadly, the weather came in the way of what was supposed to be the day's finale. As the aviation celebrations wrap up, we were looking forward to being treated to an air show today, but unfortunately the weather didn't play along. With South Africa's aviation industry being one of the fastest growing industries, the children here could look forward to a prosperous career in aviation. From me, Aviu Mtila, this is Eye on KZN. Goodbye.